Okay, Saturday, July the 28th, 2018, and I'm back in business after a sojourn enforced by a recent surgery of 5 weeks since my last walk. So today I'm taking a gentle return, 9.5, 10-mile walk, circular of Amersham via Chalfont St Giles. During that 5-week sojourn, weather was absolutely blinding, scorching hot, etc, etc. I've missed out on it, perhaps, thankfully, but I don't usually have any issues with the heat. So I've missed out on some good walks, some long days. Days are shorter now. But today we've got a mixed bag. Actually saw my first rain last night in 5 weeks. Or 6 weeks probably. Much needed though. So let's press on, see what this walk holds out for us. Very windy today though, so there might be some wind interference. It's 12:10, as I say, should be done in about 4 hours tops, even with my slow pace now. Okay, first error I noticed in the notes is that the text refers to this as the A416. It is in fact the A413 per the OS map. Okay, point 4 of the text. Turn left here into the woods, having just come under the railway bridge, with the embankment here on my right. Mixed deciduous wood, classic beech territory though. Okay, so come out of the woods into this field of barley, which I'm surprised is still here actually, because in my absence many fields have been cut now and baled. Certainly the right weather for that. I think that's the busy A road that I need to cross later. That apparently over there on the right is Old Amersham. Certainly very different weather today to the sticky, humid stuff we've had over the recent weeks. Today's almost perfect walking weather. And more rain, much needed, due tomorrow. Okay, this is the memorial to the Amersham martyrs, which is just off the path on the left as you descend. You could almost miss it, but there's a little bench there as well to remember these chaps. I think the inscription should be this side of the monument actually, because you've got to go round. It's blocked out by the hedge, unless there's a purpose for that. Anyway, Google that if you're interested, the Amersham martyrs. Okay, for the last 20 minutes or so, been walking through housing estates, so not much to film. But I think we're now getting out into open country as we follow this footpath up to Stanley Hill Cemetery. So yeah, we now come out into open country. Continue in this direction here, which is the direction of the path behind me, as opposed to turning right there. One thing I have noticed during this very hot weather is that where the grass has been cut down short, as it had a tendency to do back in North Hertfordshire, they've decimated the wildlife. Where you let it grow long, it protects the lower levels and it stays green, provides shelter from the heat, and just encourages an abundance of fauna. Absolute madness cutting the grass short at this time of year with the sun blazing. Don't know why to do it. Footpaths around my way have been, even the ragwort and the thistles all been cut down. I suppose it's health and safety, people don't want to get stung. Just madness. You don't want want to get stung, you don't come out in the countryside. See, here's a case in point. Grass has been cut short here. It's all scorched and burnt and very little wildlife in it. Countryside is becoming far too sanitised and manicured for my liking. Point 17 of the text. You've got one of those stupid little kissing gates here that you cannot get yourself through with your day pack. And yet, next to it, you've got this wasted bit of wood. You could get a nice aluminium circular kissing gate in here. Plenty of room, make life a lot easier. Madness. A few spits of rain at the moment. Hope that's all it is. Here we go. The very last of them is exactly what I said should be behind me. There's 3 or 4 of these tiny kissing gates, and the last of them is a proper gate, and of course donated by the Ramblers, in this case Hillingdon. Really is annoying. Point 18 of the text. Of course it had to be a holly bush, didn't it? So it's here all year round, but it really needs trimming back, because even with my small girth I'm struggling to get past this. Seems like I'm moaning a lot today, but such is this walk. Point 19 of the text, and thankfully it looks like the style's been replaced by the Chess Valley U3A. Good on them. Wind is definitely picking up, which is ominous in terms of rain. Shortly after that kissing gate, looks like the wind's brought down a bough from this ash. I was just thinking to myself that I hadn't seen any kites yet, which is surprising for the Chilterns. And then blow me, just as the rain leaves off, the sun comes out again. Just saw my first one. The house sign is on the floor, and the house is no longer thatched. Now coming on to Harewood Downs golf course. Quite a nice view, that one. Having got across the bunkers safely enough, we're now into some woodland walking with the golf course on the right. See the contrast between the greens and the fairway. The colours, it's incredible what the sun's done. I'd say thus far this is the best part of the walk. Continuing on up this path past the golf course on the right. Point 26 of the text, and this is where I've seen comments in previous years about this path being impassable, but there's no other way of getting around this area now. It's all been barbed wired off, etc, etc. Having just crossed the busy road up there behind me, which has currently got roadworks going on as well. Another piece of work here by the Chiltern U3A Striders group. Thanks to them. But look, a bit of plastic left there on the bridge. What is the point? Don't understand people. Good to know. I had to look twice then. Bloody ostrich over there. I also noticed some llamas in the field over there as well. Possibly some Kiwi connection here. Okay, at this T-junction now, we're apparently joining the South Bucks Way. No marker post though for it. Now I've got a closer view, I can see it's got youngsters. There we go, South Bucks Way. See, that's a lovely field, wild field, full of ragwort and some white flower. Don't know what that is. Anyway, lovely to see. Clearly not safe for horses and cattle, but supports the cinnabar moth, amongst others. What a difference, you know, leaving it wild makes. Passing the old mill, which apparently used to be Chalfont Mill once upon a time. Amazing how much leaf litter's on the floor at the moment as well, because of the heat. It's almost like autumn's come about 2 months early. Hey, now in Chalfont St Giles, that's one of the recommended lunchtime stops, Merlin's Cave. Bet there's an interesting story behind that if you want to Google it. Bit of a rusty village sign. The village pond where I've had lunch in the past, I seem to recall. One of the seats, as you can see in the background there, is occupied, but there is a possibility of an alternative. So I'm torn between here and the church. Church might be more tranquil. The church is a better bet. Set back from the main road. The seat there, I hope there's one in the sun somewhere. Doesn't bother me though. So, I think that clock's right. (2). I know we're 5 miles exactly into the walk, because I've just been told so by my GPS. So yes, there is a seat in the sun, and this one's been dedicated by someone quite famous by the looks of it. And it is coming up to 2:30. So steady progress. Lunch is served. Okay, 3 o'clock and lunch has been had, and just before proceeding on with the second part of this walk, just thought I'd mention my footwear today, which I occasionally do. This is a newly acquired pair of Mountain Warehouse Voyage Mid walking boots, which I'm finding extremely comfortable and most appropriate for the kind of walking I do in the southeast, particularly during the summer months. I used to use a version of their walking shoe, certainly up until 5 weeks ago, for this kind of walking, but I find that the shoe doesn't give the ankle support which these do, yet they're not a full boot. So the mid, of which there are very few on the market now, is indeed a very useful piece of footwear. As I say, the full walking boot is too much in this weather, but these give just enough support and without making your foot sweat too much as well. Plenty of bounce in them. They're cheap and cheerful at 40 quid, well, with discount, and they'll probably only last a season, i.e. the summer season, but highly recommended. Certainly on today's evidence anyway. Okay, carrying on now, part 2 of the walk, and I notice that the clock dates to 1869. Amazing. Still working as well. Interesting that these gates are in memory of an individual. As has been mentioned in the comments a couple of times, the Crown is now a coster. Our onward journey is up the lane next to it, on past the Fox and Hounds, which doesn't actually look as though it's open at the moment. Doesn't seem very walker friendly anyway. Looking back down the lane over Chalfont St Giles, down Hill Farm Lane, rather interesting notice. Obviously a bone of contention, this tree. It's even got its own protective posts. Interesting finger post. We're now following the path to Amersham, past that double telegraph pole. This has the potential to be very muddy in winter, apparently, according to the text. Obviously I won't encounter that problem today. On the other side of the Misbourne Valley, as you can see, the old golf course is on the opposite bank. That's where we were this morning. Nice view down the valley. Cattle ahead, I see. I hope that's not my onward journey. Feeding time. This one doesn't look very happy. I'm being bold as brass here because I've got a gate between me and them. Anyway, they're not Frisians, so they should be relatively docile. Looking back at Upper Bottom House Farm, seems like a contradiction in terms. But there you go, equestrian centre there as well. And luckily for me, this field is devoid of cows because they've all wandered into the field next door. They could be in this field, simply because they've chosen to be in that field. The gate's open. Across this clearly marked path under pylons, and with the wind blowing, it's great to hear the ears making their music. Just as Sting said in his song, "Fields of Barley." Wonder if you can hear that. Sounds like the sea. Amersham coming into view. Misbourne Valley up there. Just gone 4 o'clock. 0.40 of the text. Now following the path through the wood. Nice mixed Chiltern wood, predominantly beech, sycamore and holly. Further decent views from point 41 of the text, descending down towards the main A road 413. As you can see, predominantly barley up here. As I continue to say, we need more oats. Deal with all this gluten-free business people think they've got, and they haven't. Interesting, just going under the A413 here, it looks like there's a memorial above my head. Someone might have jumped off, committed suicide. Can't imagine they crashed at that point. Anyway, there's our onward journey. As you can tell from the graffiti, back in civilization, even in leafy bucks. Interesting, I was talking about Mountain Warehouse earlier. Foxes have a version of it, by the looks of things. Classic English town, Old Amersham's High Street. Wonderful garden of remembrance here. HMS Dreadnought. Albert Ball's SE5A. Very good. St Mary the Virgin, Old Amersham. Very pleasant little place this is as well. Seem to remember filming this many years back. It's about 20 minutes back to the station now, and as you can see up there, 20 to 5. That was a wonderful little garden of remembrance. Brilliant. So here is said River Misbourne, valley of which we've walked both sides of today. Very pleasant location this. Now I'm going to take the path up the hill and through a wood, if I remember correctly. Back over Old Amersham. Lovely little place. Just as a kite flies overhead. Fingers crossed I'll avoid the rain. That's the plan. Okay, free walk 36 completed, 9.5 miles later. Yeah, 3 hours 57, just under 4 hours as I forecast. Nothing particularly great about that walk, nothing to write home about, but a good test for me after 5 weeks absence. Good to get out again, good to test the old lungs and joints, see where I'm at. I'm okay at the minute, so let's see what happens tomorrow, because that's the telling time. Weather held out pretty much. A few spots of rain at lunchtime, but otherwise no issues. A good walk all round. So see you next time.